Hi guys, Han here. I recently submitted a proposal for proof of balance protocol, and I wanted to give a small presentation, a short presentation on what it does and how it differs from the prior work. All right, so what's the use case for this stuff? So the main idea here is that you want to prove that you own at least a certain balance, so n coins, at a given height h. So it doesn't prove that you will have these coins later than h. You can spend it all after that. And of course, it doesn't. You may have more than n coins. So of course, you don't have to show all your money, but at least it shows that you have n. And this number n is going to be revealed, and that should be the only thing that people can see from the proof of balance. So some of the use cases I've thought about, one of them is to show that you're good for n coins for that amount. So for example, if you want to buy a house and they want to make sure that you have enough money, then you could arguably you can give them this proof. But closer to now, we've been talking a lot about making governance decisions based on your Zcash balance, so holder voting. And for this to work, then you would have a number of votes that is proportional or related to how much balance you have, to how much coins, how many coins you have. And so another stuff is, for example, for an exchange, the exchange could prove that they have the balance that their customer balance. So there are situations where the exchange is fraudulent and actually have spent the money the user funds in for their own purposes. So this proves that this is not the case. That the exchange is still in control of the balance that they promise. The final one is it's pretty close to home. It's lately Nambada is offering to do airdrop on Zcash. So this could be used for that. Basically, you would prove that you have, for example, 100 ZEC, and then based on this balance, they would give you 100 Namada. So there are many use cases, I think, for proof balance. So there was prior work. You can do that in Zcash today, mainly with two solutions that I heard about. One is it's very trivial. It's if you show if your coins are in a transparent address, then you can show that transparent address and then sign a message that shows that you're capable of spending the funds from that address. The problem with that is obviously that the address will be known to everyone after the vote or after the proof, and that you have all the history then will be trackable. So that's absolutely not desirable if you are talking about a privacy coin. So if you want to avoid that in a situation, the only thing you can do is to keep your coins in a shielded address and then move your coins towards that transparent address prior to voting or prior to this proof of balance. Let's call it voting because it's easier. And so this is a bit tedious. You have to do that every time you vote, and then you have to remember that after that you have to re-shield all your stuff. And if your coins are in cold storage, so and I recommend that if you have coins that a certain amount, you should not leave them online. Then it would mean that you have to bring them back from cold storage to do this stuff. And every time you move coins, there's potential source of error. You could mess up and then possibly lose your coins. So the second solution, so that solution using a transparent address is really not that good. Personally, I don't like it because I think it goes against the principle of Zcash. So the second solution is practically the same thing, but you move the coins to a shielded address, and then once the vote is over, you reveal you give the viewing key to the guy who organized, or you publish the viewing key so that everyone can see how much funds you have there. So Well, the issues are pretty much the same though as the transparent, because once you have revealed the viewing key, your address is basically the same as the transparent address. So all the address will be known, and the history will also be known. The only difference really between this guy, the solution with the viewing key, and transparent address is that transparent address will be on the blockchain and visible to all. Any tool that does crypto analysis, or not crypto analysis, but chain analysis, will see your funds there. In the case of viewing key, it's a bit more private because only the system that are aware of the viewing key will see the history. So not a general purpose chain analysis tool. But there's a flaw, right? The flaw is that if you just reveal the viewing key, you're not showing that you own that address, right? It could be that it's an address that's from a friend, or it's a public address, and somebody has published the viewing keys, and you kind of steal um, their balance. You don't steal the coins because you're not able to sign to move the coins, but they are not really your coins. You are not proving that you would be able to spend the coins. So this could be fixed by requiring that you also make a transaction from the same account to a particular address, to a verification address, for minimal amount, just to show that you're able to provide a signature. And there was a proposal to do sapling signature in zips. I don't think it has been implemented, but the idea is pretty much the same. It's making a small amount, a small transaction that shows that you are capable of signing the message that's making the transaction. Um, so you can see it's so the problem is not the same, right? Because once you have revealed that viewing key, you essentially have burned that address, because now the address is known and the history is known. You could continue using it, but whoever has the viewing key can know much more than you probably want. You would know all the future transactions also happening at that address. So the contribution of this proof of balance proposal is fourfold, right? First one is that you don't need to move the coins. You can leave the coins where they are. So if they are in a transparent address, well, obviously it's going to be transparent, so it's going to be seen by other people. So the problem remains the same if you use a transparent address. But if you use a shielded address, then you are not going to reveal the history. You're not going to give the viewing key. So people are not going to be able to see the address, don't know the address, and will not know of course, you don't know neither the address or the transaction history. And because you can also use transparent and shielded. So shielded means that you can use sapling and you can use orchard. You can use any of the three pools. You could imagine that the vote or the rules of the exchange of the airdrop would be that it favors shielded. So if you use shielded, you will have a higher number of votes if you use transparent. Right? For example, you could say that if you use one ZEC transparent, you get one Namada, but if you use one shielded ZEC, you get two Namadas. So something like that. So that's compatible with this protocol, with this proposal. And you will keep the properties of the vote. Meaning that at the end of the election, at the end of the election period, the organizer will publish a package, a document, which allows a third party, anybody actually, to verify that the election was run with fairness. It means that the votes were not miscounted, there were not spurious votes, there were no votes that were disappeared or created, things like that. And finally, the last property is more like a convenience property. It's non-interactive. So you cast your ballots, you cast your vote, and that's all you have to do. You don't have to communicate further with the organizer, right? Just go there, prepare your coin, and then send them, and send the vote, and that's it. We don't require much more than that. So you don't have to move your coins, and it means that you can reuse the same If the vote is, for example, recurrent, if you have to vote multiple times, you don't have to move the stuff, your funds. You can use the same basically stash of Zex to vote over and over and over. Okay, so that's that's what we want to offer, and the high level description on how the work an election would work is like that. The organizer first announce the election, announces that there's some vote is going to take place, and of course you will say you vote for candidate A, B, or C. So that's the terms and conditions. We're not going to talk about that because this is actually pretty irrelevant when it comes to the protocol. But what it needs to announce for the rest is the freeze height, meaning that and the freeze height is where the coins have to be available. And this is like when you do airdrop, they will always announce that okay, your coins must be. They're gonna do a snapshot of the blockchain at a given height. So the coins that are acquired after that snapshot height are not going to be eligible for the airdrop. So that's the same thing. That's the freeze height. Coins that you have after that freeze height, they're not going to be able. They're not going to be eligible to participate in the election. And the second high is the tally high. It's basically the end of the election. This is the end where the votes are counted and the results are published. So once the organizer announced all this stuff, the voters can prepare their coins. Right. So if you are just if you have your stuff, your balance, your funds already available in your wallet, then you don't have anything to do. Yeah. But I put that particular note here because sometimes people tend to leave their coins at an exchange. If your coins are not in your wallet, then they are not going to be able. They are not going to be. Yeah, they cannot participate in the vote. So in that case, you have to move them into out of the exchange. At the same time, you could also purchase coins if you need. So after the freeze height happened, now the voters can use the tool or use the wallet, use whatever voting machine we offer to cast their vote. So the casting a vote is basically making a message and sending that message directly to the organizer. Then the organizer will commit a receipt, will acknowledge that it has received that vote by making a transaction on the Zcash regular blockchain. So at that point, it means that the voter cannot say, "Oh, I voted, but you lost my vote. Right? You cheated, and even though I sent to you, it's not accounted anymore." By the fact that the receipt is on the blockchain, both organizer and the voter can see that it has been received. Then once the tally height passes, the no vote will be possible. So all the votes will be rejected at that time. The organizer can count the votes. So he uses a tool, of course, for that. And then he will say, okay, so this is the winner, and then he has received that many votes, and so on and so forth. Right? And at the same time, he would publish an audit package. So audit package is essentially a copy of all the messages that it has received, and it will allow any auditor or any participant or anyone who is willing to check to verify that first the messages that are in the package matched with the receipts that are in the blockchain, and also that the values are counted properly. So that's how you run the process. So conceptually though, the main key here is how we form this message, right? So how this whole thing organized is in details is not the scope of this presentation. It's going to be part of the zip that will be written if the proposal is accepted. But here, essentially, we're just going to talk about at a high level how this works. So at the freeze height, so when we say that there's if it was a fork, it would be the snapshot. The blockchain, the Zcash blockchain, is virtually forked, right? So the virtually fork here means that we're not going to run another chain. We're not going to have miners. We're not going to have like even blocks created, but it's just to mark the transition towards a new set of rules that are only applicable for the messages that the organizer of the vote, the election, receives. And the rules of that particular virtual blockchain, virtual fork, it depends uh, on the election properties. For one thing, for sure, is that you don't want to make these messages sent to the organizer usable to make the real transactions. You don't want to reveal anything that would be usable for a hacker to steal funds from the guys who have voted. So things has to be done differently so that the signatures and everything would not be reusable in the mainnet. And so that's the one of the factor. But besides that, we use the same idea that the transaction is already capturing most of the rules of a vote, particularly the inputs. Because when you make a transaction and you pay someone, you're enforcing a few things. You're enforcing that there's no double spending. Right? No double spending in the context of a vote means that you're not trying to vote twice with the same funds. Then the second thing is that when you pay someone, you need to pay with funds that you have. And again, here for a vote, it means that you're voting with the coins that you are in possession of. So these two things are constant to go translate well together. And finally, the amount of the transaction, the amount that you take, is also captured in a shielded way by the binding signature. So that enforces that you're not claiming to send to own more coins that you have. So of course, in details, it's a bit more complicated, but all in all, this is how it would work. All right, so that's all I have. And if you have questions, of course, if you have questions, please uh, ask them on the forum, and I'll be glad to answer them to the best of my knowledge. Thank you for listening.